Welcome to TikTok. My name is Eric Mijakovsky. Instead of the normal Eric stares at the camera and announces a new product, I'm joined by some very special guests, some really good friends. The founders of Clicks, the folks who just launched the Clicks Communicator very recently. We've got Jeff Gadway, who is the head of product marketing for Blackberry for Research in Motion, and Kevin, CrackBerry Kevin, one of the first people that I met in the tech world 17 years ago. He covered the first watch that I ever made, Impulse, which was a BlackBerry watch. We had a great chat, but yeah, let's just get into it. What's your favorite BBM memory?
Uh,
Ooh.
Mine's easy. The time I posted my pin publicly, and I think was flooded with about 12,000 requests instantly, and it was insane. I think you can find the video on YouTube, but that was a ballsy move that tested BBM itself to the limits.
Two, if you'll allow me to indulge. The first is when we were going BBM cross-platform, launching it on iOS, Android, Windows Phone. And we actually had to take two runs at this because there was so much interest the first time that we actually knocked over all our servers, all the backup and restore stuff. So we had to roll back the deployment. And even though that maybe doesn't sound like a favorite memory, like it was like full on war room, teams working around the clock. It was really fun to like troubleshoot all that stuff. And then once we actually got it stood up,
I think I've been to
we
I went
went
to
to
the
like some.
knock once with BlackBerry. Like you guys had this room which just had tons of screens. It was like a command and control room, right?
Yeah, it was kind of like Houston's launch control for NASA, which is pretty accurate. And once we got the stuff stood up, we did a bunch of marketing campaigns where we projected like BBM symbols on Apple stores around the world, to kind of be like, hey, you can get a BBM on your iPhone. But the second one, when I was running BBM marketing, a lot of like celebs and stuff were using BBM at the time. So I'd be like hanging out with friends on a Friday night, and my BlackBerry would be blowing up. They're like, "Who's messaging you on a Friday?" I'm like, "Oh, it's just Alicia Keys. Oh, it's just Tim Allen. Oh, it's just Diplo." It's
I was
so I know
waiting
it's
for
a
the
bit of a
name
name
drops.
drop,
I
but
thought that would
but it
happen.
was fun. It was fun. Yeah, it was great.
Why do you think like BBM seems like one of those first internet services that just had like a virality to it, right? Like ICQ, I mean, I was on ICQ in 98. Do you remember your ICQ number?
4592860 8.
There you go. So like there's a few of us. That's 8 digits. That's pretty good. Uh but like BBM seemed to cross into, I guess Facebook was kind of around that time, but like you saw BBM in TV shows, you saw it in movies, it was everywhere. Like what was it, just because that was the first mobile product, or was there something special about BBM?
Think it was the status and the exclusivity at the start. Even if you go back to when BlackBerry first started, it was the business class device. You boarded a flight and everybody sitting in the first few rows had a BlackBerry and BBM was on it. And I think it migrated its way to the back of the plane over time. But in the beginning, it was the exclusivity of it. They weren't just selling a smartphone and messenger, they were selling status.
Yeah, we did a lot of ethnographic research on this. And it came down to the immediacy of the service, and then the D and the R, right? Like you got to think at the time there was no way of knowing if your message was received and if it was read. And so there was this social contract between people that if you've read the message, you're going to respond to the message. It's kind of like, I know you read the message. And I think that did a lot as well.
It was just a better service at the time and more reliable.
Yeah. I'm trying to imagine like what would BBM be like if it had gone like true multi-platform where there was just an Android app and an iOS app, that you could download. I wonder if that would have sunk in. I mean, it was encrypted before iMessage was even encrypted, I think.
Oh yeah, totally end to end. Like even BlackBerry didn't have the keys, right? Like the keys
Yeah.
were on device.
That was the
So
whole
I don't know. I mean, it's
BES
it's a
thing.
it's a great
Yeah.
question. Yeah, the whole Bez thing.
Was
I
that
mean,
ever in the cards? Did they ever consider like was there a meeting where they were like, "Oh, we should, like someone was pitching this, we should have an iOS app, we should have an Android app," and then that got shot
oh
down?
my gosh, yeah, totally, absolutely. I mean, here's
That's
here's the here's the inside story of it. You had two camps at BlackBerry. One camp that was like the hardware is being commoditized. we need to monetize the BlackBerry Messenger service as a way to kind of hedge against the hardware commoditization. And then there was another group that was like, the only reason people are buying Blackberries, especially in a lot of developing markets around the world, is for BBM. So we can't give away the golden goose that is the reason why people are buying Blackberries and why we're able to charge carriers service access fees, which was the real cash cow for the company. So that was a big internal philosophical debate between those two groups.
And when
So
we
it
say two groups, we mean
never got resolved one way or another, or it just defaulted
Oh, it
and
did.
never.
We went cross-platform, right? Eventually we did, but it was too late. It was too little, too late. I mean, when we went cross-platform from BlackBerry only to iPhone, Android, Windows Phone, we grew our monthly active user base from 40 million monthly active subs to over 100 million monthly active subs. So it was really effective. And then we built a bunch of paid services on the back of that: BBM ads, BBM music, BBM meetings, a bunch of other stuff. But it happened way too late, and
What year
the
was that?
migration to WhatsApp was already begun. What was that, Kevin? Like 2013-ish?
Yeah, I'm going
2014?
back in my mind. I want to look up the CrackBerry articles where I said BBM needs to go cross-platform, and those were quite early on. But it was already too late for the cross-platform style. And Eric, if you read the book Losing the Signal, this is almost the fracture between the two original CEOs of Mike Lazaridis and Jim Balsillie. And even just 2 months ago, I was on a BBC interview with Jim, actor, comedian, tech guy Stephen Fry, and myself. And when Jim was asked about, what was the downfall of BlackBerry, my answer was apps, right? I'm like, look, they didn't get the apps, they didn't keep up. It was going to become a 2-app ecosystem game. They lost, and they didn't switch to Android soon enough or build BB10 soon enough. Jim's answer was, we didn't take BBM cross-platform soon enough. And it was Mike and the other co-founder of RIM who really felt it was a hardware play. And what Jim wanted to do was actually sell BBM to the carriers. So it would be an add-on to whatever smartphone you owned. And it would be like iMessage, but cross-platform from day one. And then the carriers would make money from it, and BlackBerry would make money from it. And you would just pay as a monthly service to have the best in-class messaging. And what do we have to this day? We have the war of blue bubbles and green bubbles. And he might have been right, like it could be a different game if he pulled it off. I think the carriers would have got upset about paying a tax to RIM for years and years and years. But it would have been a different story.
Well, you could always reduce the tax over time. Like once you were embedded and you became the default, like if, you were making money in some other direction, you could, ramp that down a little bit to make it more palatable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so you guys are heading back into the fray. You are not only building hardware, you're building a successor to what I imagine you guys love, like a product that had such a big impact on your lives. Now, I want to ask you, what is Clicks Communicator in your words, and then get into what it's like to build something that's, a successor to this, gigantic product that affected my life, that affected your lives. So what is Clicks Communicator?
What is it to you, Kevin? Oh, okay.
No, I want you to start.
You want me to start?
You could each answer.
Wait, I'll start.
Yeah.
This is the reason.
Yeah.
I'll start with, this is the reason I was put on the planet, Eric. And this is a story arc for me that's 20 years in the making, from getting my, first BlackBerry in 2005 to today. And that spans becoming, being a customer of the product, a fan of the product, obviously building a tech media blog community, etc., around crackberry.com.
I think the term
empire. A small empire. Watching the demise of BlackBerry and the thing I love. And when your nickname is CrackBerry Kevin and the thing you love goes away, you kind of need to change your name, or you gotta, do something about it. And I opted for the latter reason. And this is now, the last few years of my life building up to 2026. And last week in the unveiling of Clicks Communicator. So for me, it's 20 years in a way to get over the starting line, but we're over the starting line in the best possible way, because it's it's not a cold start. We've been working towards this and jogging into running for a long time now. So Jeff will tell you what it actually is, but for me, it's my life's work.
it's a Misagi, is it, or Misagi? Yeah,
Well, I think that's a
got
once a
big
year
test.
thing. This
Oh,
is big, yeah.
well, maybe it is a once a year thing, but no. What is it? It's a phone that's been purpose built for excelling at communications, or as I like to kind of put it, separating signal from noise. So, our main phone, our everything phone, is like a hydrant of stuff coming at you. Takes you on a lot of side quests, but you can't give it up because it's got all the flagship specs. And so for people who need to get shit done and triage, manage all the communication stuff coming at them, this is what you reach for. Just like you reach for a Kindle when you want to read a book, you don't reach for your iPad. It's a purpose built device for a specific purpose.
You guys don't have one yet in your pocket, but if I understand correctly, not yet. What are you most excited for? Like, what the keyboard feels like because you already make a product that has, pretty much the exact same keyboard. So I feel like that. What are you most excited for when it all comes together into one package?
Excited for from a how am I going to use it standpoint, or just in
like
general?
This is going to be a change to your lives, right? First of all, it's going to be a return to having something like a BlackBerry in your pocket, which is going to feel amazing. But just what you described,
just nailed. I think you just nailed it, Eric, in terms of me. Like, and this will sound a little hokey, but when I see it on my desk, which is covered in phones and gadgets, it is the thing that calls to me as just an object of beauty and desire. When I pick it up in my hand, it absolutely feels right. Like, I haven't felt a phone that felt this good in probably 15 years, but I would argue ever, because it even feels better than all my old smartphones that you remember better than you think than they actually were. And I think that experience of seeing the signal light go off and call to me when a VIP messages like Eric Miggy, and I just need to drop what I'm doing for him to reply right away. That's the moment I'm really excited for. Is it proper? To quote,
do love that
Gadway,
the signal light is on the side. I think that's whoever came up with that was a genius, because I like turning my phone down. Other people like turning it up. Having it on the side is perfect. It's beautiful.
Thank you, Eric. I'm just going to stop the podcast right now because I can only go downhill for you. Yes, I take full credit.
No, it's cool. And you can angle it towards yourself. It's gonna be great.
Well, it's funny enough, we never really discussed putting it on the front because that feels like, going to the past. And like you said, we know
we had some discussions around the space bar with a fingerprint unlock in the space bar. We were talking about
5 minutes.
Well, I'm being complete here, but
fair.
You're correct.
What I was going to say is we talked about it like kind of on the top, wrapping around, so that when you set it down, it would cast a glow off of whatever surface you were having it on, and you'd still see it that way. I did forget about the spacebar thing though. That was interesting. I think there was like some issues around like light ways and stuff and how we would actually do that. But I think what I'm excited about is like to have it sitting there on a table and people say, what phone is that? Again, like they used to in 2007 when people started carrying something other than a BlackBerry or an HTC or a Palm or something like that. So I'm excited for that, and I'm excited to like get that kind of purposeful workflow back that I think a lot of us miss from the BlackBerry days, where you could just get in, get stuff done, and get out really efficiently. And that was a product of how the hardware was designed and some of the things that they did really intelligently with the software and placing the most likely thing like right underneath the track wheel. So yeah, I'm excited for that too.
So I want to come back to software in a second, but Kevin, you brought up something interesting about the hardware, which is something that's been going through my mind, and I'm sure a lot of other people's, which is that we have this image in our mind of, for the people that had the pleasure of using a BlackBerry, but, there's other people who didn't, and they have this idea of what a keyboard phone could be. Most of us have not experienced this, other than using a Clicks keyboard in the last decade, right? And so you guys are going to be the first to kind of get back into the zone of using a keyboard-based phone device on a regular basis. You mentioned that there's this image in your mind of it, and then there's the reality of it. One thing that kind of scares me is how much I've become accustomed to the touchscreen and to the, emoji keyboard and everything. How does that how does that feel going back to a keyboard-based device, a strictly keyboard-based device? And does it like meet your expectations? Does it exceed them? Or is it some sort of new experience now that we're in this blended world of having had, touchscreen-based devices for so long?
Great question. And I think where we started, obviously, with the Clicks keyboard case is getting feedback from real users. So the thing that shocked me in 2024 when we launched the Clicks keyboard for iPhone was when we looked at who was buying the product. I think in year one, close to 40%, Jeff, of the customers had never used buttons on a phone before. Yeah. 45%. And I think part of the function of that is, we're doing some of our marketing and, social media exists. So you see younger people who are social native seeing this product for the first time and they're like, what the heck is that? I'm going to order one and try it. And what we learned is, young people on a new experience can learn really, really fast and loved it. Right. And one of the challenges I did to my, 19-year-old nephew and my niece is I said, okay, here guys, you're going to try this thing. Uncle Kevin's the guy pushing buttons at you. Let's see which of you can get the quickest, the fastest. And in 48 hours, they were matching me. And I'm like, well, this is just unfair. So, I think there's a benefit to youth and you can pick up new things quick if you decide you want to learn. If people are lazy or they don't want to commit to something, it's going to feel a little bit different.
What about switching back and forth though? Because you'll have your main device and you'll have your communicator.
Yeah, slightly different question in terms of just, where you started with, can you go between touchscreen and keyboard seamlessly? And I think the answer there is yes, right? Like sometimes you will pop up the touchscreen keyboard for things like emoji or more characters that aren't on the keyboard. If you want to be a power user about it, like I will do things like type emoji. So if I don't want to touch the touchscreen at all, I go back to colon bracket being text replaced by a smiley face, right? And guess what? We tend to be creatures of habit and we tend to use the same 10 emoji over and over again, not all, 1,000 of them in most cases. So if you kind of go to the power user end of it, you can do things like that and do more off the keyboard without going back to touch. But the ability to show hide touch keyboard is easy, so you can go back and forth.
Are you guys going to make your own keyboard app for Android so that it integrates with the hardware keyboard?
Gboard to start. We think that's kind of
We're looking at.
Because I could imagine your keyboard just showing like a thin row across the top or something, and it kind of like interplays back and forth with the hardware keyboard.
Yeah, I mean, we've looked at that in the past for our Clicks keyboard cases, but building an Clicks input method, ton of development work. And as Kevin says, like Gboard is actually quite capable for supporting external keyboards. So I think it's a good spot. I think going back to your question though. Oh yeah, 100%. That's the whole nature of that prompt key on the side. Is we know that physical input, keyboard input, is good for certain situations and applications, but sometimes you just want to talk. And I find myself all the time, like I've got groceries in my hands or dog leashes in my hands, and I'm not able to type something out. So the whole premise behind that side key, the prompt key, is press and hold for speech to text, and double click it to start some kind of a voice recorder, like an Otter or a Whisperflow or something like that.
Interesting. Cool. So then, getting onto the software topic, what's the plan? Like an Android phone is more than hardware, right? AOSP only gives you so much. Are you going to complete the picture using your own kind of resources? Are you going to partner with other folks who've built camera apps or other, launchers, that kind of thing? What's the idea?
I think the answer there is both, right? What's really interesting, and we got this question a little bit at CES last week from different media interviews and that. People, some people are saying like, wow, it's quite the leap to go from an accessory company to now building hardware. And then I go, aha, that's where we Miyagi'd you. The catch is we actually built a smartphone company to start. And the leap was actually building an accessory to start. But we wanted to validate the market, make sure we weren't crazy, build our brand, build our revenue, build the team, build the relationship, solve for all the problems in advance. And also wait for the right time to launch the device. If I go back in time, it was actually March 17th, 2023, when I registered the domain name clicksphone.com.
Wow.
And to put that in perspective, that was a week before I reached out to Michael Fisher, asking him if he wanted to be a part of this project. And I did not mention the phone at all because he would have said, Kevin, you're nuts. We're not going to do this. But, you know, our CTO
game.
I played the long game, and our CTO and myself, like, we always had the goal of building the device. And, you know, the team we built around Clicks from day one has all that experience. So, you know, while it's the first phone for Clicks, you know, the team has launched other smartphones to market, you know, both in years past with some of our ex-BlackBerry friends like Gadway on the call, but also more recently to the tune of, you know, hundreds of thousands of units and innovative devices. So for us, all of our partners, suppliers, everybody has been, you know, part of this mission for a long time. And as much as we have, I think it's well known, we have a lot of kind of ex-BlackBerry people on the team. We actually have a good cohort of ex-HTC people. So we have a strong software team out of Taiwan, and then we supplement that with other partners as we need to. So for things like the camera app, you know, there are absolutely companies who have some of the best algorithms that supply them to tier ones. And, you know, we have access to those guys and we integrate them into the project. So, you know, running a program like this is not, hey, we did okay with keyboard cases, let's go build a phone, shucks be darn. I mean, this has been, again, my 20-year story
in the context of
this has come a long time making.
I was thinking about it in the context of people loving their BlackBerry, and the keyboard was a big part of it, and the form factor, and you know the you know more unique nature than it being a slab of glass in your pocket. But you know, going back to the BBM topic, and what was the name of the? I mean, there was like a view where you could see your emails from all these different email accounts, and it mixed with your
the hub, the BlackBerry Hub.
The hub. There was a lot of elements of the OS that people loved. Are you going to how are you going to set expectations? Because regardless of the team and everything, like it's a lot of work. Are you going to do things in phases? Are there things that we should look forward to at the beginning? You know, how did you decide what you wanted that experience to be?
Well, I think that the first decision we made was we're not going to do this unless we can build an integrated hardware and software experience. If Clicks' phone is only going to be sticking a keyboard on Android, don't bother doing it, because that's not going to actually be an unlock for anybody. And then the decision from there is, well, how do we do it? As Kevin said, you know, bringing together the software team, but also through partnerships like the folks at the Niagara launcher out of Germany, who are very philosophically aligned with how we see the role of your phone as kind of a communication-centric product. And so working with them to take the Niagara launcher and then make it even better by giving them access to the hardware, the touch-sensitive keyboard, the notification light. I think that's like a way that we can accelerate development without having to rebuild all that software from scratch.
I didn't realize. So you guys partnered with Niagara launcher?
Yeah. So we're co-building.
You didn't watch our launch video, Eric?
I did. Beautiful. I was just lost in your guys' eyes and your very well-dressed manner.
Yeah, so we're partnering with Peter and Marcus and their team, and you know they're taking Niagara and building a flavor of it for Communicator that you know uses the list-based app structure and then uses the keyboard to allow you to actually navigate through your favorites on your home screen and actually triage with the keys. So you can imagine something like D for delete, R for reply, U for unread, like that kind of thing. And it builds this hardware software workflow.
Now, I can't remember, but does a launcher include the notification shade on Android, or is that a separate app, or is that part of the OS?
So it's part of the OS. With Niagara, you can actually disable the notification shade if you want all your notifications to just take place through the launcher itself. But
okay,
I think,
so it's going to own,
you know,
it's going to own the notifications. Yeah.
Well, I think that's kind of the stock experience, but being Android 16, customers will be able to install a different launcher, go with like stock Android if they want. So we're not locking you into a prescriptive experience.
This is a good one of my colleagues.
Segue.
One of my colleagues, his father ordered one of your devices, and his first question was, "Can you unlock the bootloader?"
I want to ask you this question because we're leaning towards yes. We're getting a lot of questions about that from the community. What's your take as somebody who's built Pebble and core devices around the notion of
Wait,
kind of being
let me
openness
preface
and
it.
everything
Let me
else.
preface this. I think when Eric joined us on the ClicksCast last year, I was like, Eric, can you please join the Clicks advisory team? We would love you and
Yes.
your wisdom on board. And then we just listened to you the whole time and took notes. So now that we're on the show, I'm going to beg
Yeah.
again, and
I'm,
then
I'm
your
gonna
first roll is
I'm
how
gonna
would you
send
answer
him.
that question, Eric?
I'm gonna send him some
I haven't
shares
done the
in Carter
research.
right now. One sec.
Yeah, I haven't done the research on what the negative impact of it is. I know that, like, I think, do you still have to have a locked bootloader in order to get a certain Android, what is it called?
Like your
Like
GMS
the payment
GSM
over
certification.
NFC and
certification.
that kind of thing.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know of any downside. Like, the positives seem very high. Like, you have an incredible base of folks who are excited about a device that didn't exist, and you guys are like conjuring it back up. I can't wait to see what people do with it. And part of that might be, people exploring outside the box.
Yeah.
I think I think as a company, fundamentally, we want to give people choice, right? That's why even in the design of Communicator, we brought back the headset jack, and
Yeah.
there's
And the SD
expandable
card.
storage under and the SD
Huge.
card is there. So I think philosophically we stand for it. I think, at the end of the day, you just got to go against, are there any negatives that make it a no-no for some reason?
Yeah.
But in general, we'd rather support it than not.
I think it's tough. I mean, I do know from a support perspective, having, run a company that has a lot of users, it is very difficult to provide support, good quality, high quality support for people that kind of, go off into the wilderness a bit. But if you're clear and upfront, maybe that could alleviate some of the concern.
Yeah, I think when we've talked about it and looked at it before, there's ways to track it. Like, obviously, if if there's functionality that disappears because you load up a different ROM, you're kind of acknowledging that, and it's trackable by issuing, I think, a code to use for the unlocking of it, so that on our end we can know who unlocked versus who didn't at the get-go. But
so
yeah.
Another question that I have, and it kind of relates a little bit to Pebble, because over the last year of the relaunch, I've been trying to be very upfront about what Pebble is good for, what it's not great for, and who would really have a great experience with it, and more importantly, like, who shouldn't buy a Pebble. And I was wondering, have you guys considered something similar for Click? Since it is, you're saying it's open, but in a lot of ways it's opinionated. It has, a real reason why it exists. And I think that's actually a really good thing in gadgets. I don't think that we should build bland gadgets that are good for every purpose and everybody in the world, because that just doesn't feel exciting. And so you build something exciting, but at the same time, like, who is it for and who is it not for?
I've been
Well, I
I've
think
been so I've been excited for you to ask this question, because it became very clear when we had you on our podcast. You said
I
something
know what's
that stuck
coming.
with us that was very profound, and that was, you built Pebble for you, right? And you happen to find an audience of people. And honestly, Communicator is the product that we wished we had over the last 2 years building Clicks. As we've traveled the world and like tried to scale this company, we're like, there's so much effing noise. We got to find the signal. And that's why we built this. And we know there's a lot of other people out there who agree. And I think that comes down to who's going to love it. It's people who want something that's communication centric, want something that is going to make them feel empowered and, not like they are, going on a whole bunch of side quests. And in keeping with that, if you're building a communicator and not a flagship smartphone, you don't have to put the best camera in it. You don't have to put the best SoC in it. You don't have to put, the best this. And so I think, who is this not for? People that care about vanity metrics and ticking off boxes on a spec sheet. And we're not under specking it. We're specking it for a communicator experience. And there are some people for whom it's going to be great as a main, and other people who it's going to be great as a secondary device. And so I think it's funny when I go to the comments and people are like, why are they keep pitching this as a secondary phone? I'm going to use this as a main phone. Their marketing sucks. It's being confusing. And I'm just sitting back like, I love it. Like, if you're going to use it as a main, that's awesome. Good for you. But that's not what we designed it for.
Yeah, and I think if I answer the question almost from the feedback we've been getting from now customers and why they're buying it, there's a few different reasons why people are buying it. So, the old kind of BlackBerry community that's been waiting for a device. I mean, this is the best BlackBerry never built by BlackBerry, right? For them. And, if we call it a secondary device or something, or a complementary device, they're like, well, this is crazy. This is just my primary. And we're like, that's great. But, going into Las Vegas and launching a new product, you have a chance to tell your story, get it out there once. And I think we did a couple things. Now in hindsight, we didn't know if they would be the right decision, prior to going from stealth to public with it. I think the Communicator name was really quite brilliant. And coming back from Vegas, what we've discovered is others have told it to us, and it wasn't necessarily, it's a really nice thing, is we've now created an adjacent category to the smartphone of purpose-built communicators. And to be able to, it's almost a very Apple-like thing, to launch a new product, define a new category, name the product after the category, and now anybody who follows in that category is following your suit. That's brilliant. And if you look at the space around us the past few years, what's been on the rise has been sort of minimal tech or digital disconnect devices. And I've used them all and I like them, whether it's,
You're talking about the dumb phone movement.
Well, dumb phone to me is
Some
like
are
I'm going
dumber than
back to an
others.
old, some are dumber than others, right? And I've used them all, and I think there's a purpose in them, and what they make you realize is, yeah, I'm addicted to my iPhone or my flagship or to social media. And when you go cold turkey with a product like that, you realize you need something else. But to actually stick with it long term is a really big change, and you end up finding these fringe use cases that just will not work for you. And I don't think they remain. So I kind of look at it as, Jeff's wife is a world famous dog trainer, and she helped me train my dog when I got one a few years ago. And there's negative reinforcement and there's positive reinforcement. And one way to train a dog is negative reinforcement. Bad, don't do this, slap you, take away your toys, go sit in the corner. And then there's positive reinforcement and reinforce the good behaviors. And I think a lot of those smartphones in that space, now when I think about using them, they're sort of negative reinforcement, right? It's like, you're on your smartphone too much. Don't do it. Bad, Kevin, put it away. Versus building something like Communicator, where you say, okay, this is positively better for this experience. You're going to love it for this experience.
But do you think you will want to put down your main phone and just use Communicator for a while?
I think I'm going to be this guy. This is the new flex, Eric. So like a year from now, when you walk into a restaurant, you're going to do both. And it's the status symbol back, right? It's bringing back, what does it say about me as a person? When you're walking by in a restaurant and you see me with my new iPhone down with all its 3 bumps and a Communicator on top, who is that guy? That guy's a baller. Is he the president of the universe or what? And that is what actually people often buy products for. We think it's always the spec and the function, everything else, but you got to build products people actually want. And to me, this is part of it. So I will use both. I think there's times though where I will leave one at home. And what we're seeing from some of the customers we talked to the past week, for some it's going to be their work phone during the day, and their iPhone becomes their evening phone or their flagship. For others, this will be their weekend phone because they need their flagship during the day.
How do you
for others who are traveling
the phone
a
number
lot?
Problem of like transferring calls between the two lines? Is this already solved?
It depends if you view it as a problem. So, for example, we have some friends who are very senior level executives at, well, I'll just say one of them's at Amazon, really senior executive level. And what he's seen is a lot more execs carrying 2 phones. And the reason they're going to buy this and how they're going to use it is it's their VIP phone. They don't want the same number on it. That main number is spam, and it's too many people, and it's on their business cards, and it's in
I was
their
thinking
email
of the
footer.
person who's using it during the week versus the weekend. Like,
oh yeah, you have options there depending how you want to approach it. I mean, we have eSIM, we have nano SIM. You could always run it Wi-Fi hotspot too, depending what you want to do. But if you're eSIM, depending on your carrier, I mean, you could swap it every weekend if you wanted to go that route.
I never thought of that. You could actually swap eSIMs.
If you
so
wanted
wouldn't have to get up 2 SIMs that have the same number or something like that. You'd actually just get the same eSIM, but you'd swing it back and forth.
Yeah,
that's really
cool.
And
then some of the carriers are doing more work to support multiple.
Yeah,
multiple
can you use any of the same
number.
APIs that are used for watches? Like, don't a lot of the watches support phone number? I haven't really followed that too closely.
Yeah, I mean, Apple's doing that pretty effectively, being able to hand off calls from your phone to your watch. I
Yeah.
mean, I think a lot of that's proprietary. We need to certainly look into that. But I think
Yeah,
coming back
the
to
number
the
at a carrier
the
level is
fundamental,
usually a separate number.
Yeah.
yeah, the
Sorry.
fundamental question is like we see a growing trend towards people carrying two different devices with two different numbers. And if you go to like the main cities, I'm sure you see it where you are, like it looks like this. They're carrying two of the same thing versus saying, okay, well, what if your second phone was more optimized for a specific use case than your primary phone? And that's
I,
sort of
I
what
promise I'll
we're
end on a
building
good
for.
note, but I will lob another hardball at you guys.
Yeah,
So
I love it.
Oh,
Love
you're
it.
holding
if these are hard balls, come on,
well,
come
let
on,
me-
Eric.
Come on. This is
hold on
nothing.
until I actually
Warm it
ask the
up.
question. So you're holding an iPhone and a communicator, right?
Yeah.
One is iOS, one is Android.
Yeah.
And if you're saying that's who we are, that's who we're building for, and that's who will have, a good experience, how do you get around the iMessage question? How do you get around the fact that your main phone has iMessage and your secondary phone doesn't have iMessage?
Isn't there that app? I mean, I think it's a fair point, especially in North America. The world's a big world, and if we look beyond our North American
Yeah, but you guys are in
borders,
North
that
America.
problem largely goes away. I know. I'm just
Yeah.
acknowledging that, like, it's a big
I
world out
have
there.
I
But
have
as it
my
relates
answers,
to,
right?
yeah,
I mean, you
Kevin's
can
gonna
do
Kevin's
that.
gonna
You
launch
can
the
do the Eric
crusade.
Mickey. You can do the blue bubble thing if you want to, right? If you feel you need to cover up your green, what's the word,
My
like
green self.
yeah, your green
That's
self.
very
Yeah.
wicked.
I actually think Eric, there's a reason this is green, right? This is your baller phone. This is your money phone. And the people I give
love
this
it.
number to are going to know when they see green, you're my VIP. You Miyagi iMessage is what you do at
Green
the
is the
start.
new blue.
Green, yeah, I love it. And I think Eric, you picked up. I noticed right away. A lot of people are. This is the marketer in me. I can't help it. Clicks Communicator. They're like shortening it to CC. I'll CC you on it. I'll CC you on it means it's going to be green, and that's my VIP because everybody has my iMessage number. So if I give you it, it's kind of why you started the conversation around why was BBM a thing back in the day. Well, it was exclusive. If everybody knows Kevin's always an iMessage person, and I get you on my green phone, you've made it
Wait,
to
so
my
does that mean you guys are going to
Signal
launch a
phone
chat
versus
app?
noise.
Is that the next thing?
Well, I think somebody did a great job of one, but no, I'm gonna.
You don't have
bite
to
my tongue.
announce
I'm
it
gonna do
now. I'll
protocol.
get you back on the podcast. We'll talk about that later.
Okay,
That would
okay,
be
okay,
a
okay.
great thing to do.
I mean, but the thing is, like, we're all iPhone people, right? Like, my whole ecosystem is iPhone. Kevin's whole ecosystem
Same.
is Apple. So we're not like scared off by it. And I think in this two device world, there's room to not necessarily have your iMessages on your communicator device, right? At least to start. I mean, we'd love to solve that problem at longer term, but I think that's when you come back to like what can we do on day one versus what can we aspire to down the road, and how do we build a roadmap around it. I think that's one of those things that we're not necessarily going to have on day one, but as Kevin mentioned, like carriers are already telling us that they're trying to solve for the second phone companion complementary device problem, and they're really excited. Like they reached out to us last week and are talking about things that they're doing at a network level to make that sharing more possible. So I think it's kind of the right product at the right time, and hopefully we can kind of ride that wave.
Well, I'm
And
happy
I
to
will
help.
say now,
Happy to help as
now that
needed.
there's well, and I'm going to come to that right now. So I think Eric, what we're going to do is we're starting the Free the Bubble change.org petition that will be my life's mission to sign up. I mean, what do you think we need? 100 million, 500 million people? I think we can
To do
find
what?
them, and I think to petition Apple to free the bubble. So it has to go cross-platform. Look, Google just signed a deal with Apple for
Good
freaking
luck.
Gemini to fix
Good
Siri.
luck.
Did you see that? Gemini's going into Apple. Maybe there's something there down the road about Android having to get iMessage. Just maybe.
That'll be the
Never
day.
know.
I don't wear a hat often, but if I did, I would definitely eat it if that happens.
I think yesterday was the day that Apple said we got to fix Siri with Gemini. Like, was that in the bingo cards? I don't know.
That's true. But I don't think too many people switch to an iPhone or get locked in because of Siri. I think it's the other way around with iMessage. Like it's an amazing lock-in factor that Apple has, a stranglehold over 80%, 90% of the consumers in the US who are in that category. But
Yeah.
no, I wish you good luck. I think there's, I love the secondary phone positioning of it, because I think that very deftly, sidesteps the issue, especially if you're carrying both phones. Like, you won't lose your iMessage capability if you carry both, but it does make the weekend phone proposition harder, because people use iMessage for their personal communication more than work, and so you'll lose that on the weekends. And so there's clever ways that you can work around it, but there's nothing that's perfect. Okay, so I mentioned that was the hard one. Okay, now the softball.
Okay.
So
I like softballs.
we both announced our products on January 2nd. And some of my favorite YouTube comments were just like, on both videos, on the Clicks video and on the Pebble Round 2 video, were like, Pebble launches Round 2 and Clicks launches the Communicator on the same day. Like, what could be better? It feels like gadgets are back. And I love that, we've talked about this before. I just love that we're building these companies that specialize in gadgets. And gadget to me is a piece of hardware that evokes joy. Like, I look down at gadgets and I can't help but smile. They make me feel good. They're things that I look forward to. They're things that I read about in the press. They're just fun in a way that not much other technology is really doing that for me. And so, how do you think about gadgets, and what are your favorite gadgets? Have you adopted any new gadgets into your life, into your lifestyle over the last few years? What's your gadget status right now?
Can I show you my newest gadget?
Yes, I'd love to. What do you got? Oh, you guys are just showing off. You're building cool gadgets. Yes, you got me there. I ordered one. I can't wait for it. Yes.
We've been talking about Communicator a lot, but I think the real dark horse here is power keys, because strategically for us, it's the how do we dramatically expand our total addressable market, open up to new use cases. And while there's been a lot of community enthusiasm around Communicator, it's power keys that was selling every 6.5 seconds over our launch weekend, because people love a good gadget, like you say. And the thing that was fascinating about the briefings is that everybody, and I'm sure you watch how people use your products without even saying anything, everyone just sat in the briefings doing this.
Love a good click.
It's like the new fidget slider, right?
Yeah.
Fidget slider. So like I just love that, right? I absolutely love it. It's tactile, it's auditory, it's
and the
fantastic.
price was right. $79 is
and the price is right.
Steal
yeah,
of a deal.
It's kind of a no-brainer. Yeah. Sorry, I hijacked the question.
Okay, but
funny enough,
besides
I'm not a big
gadget
guy. I'm not a big gadget guy. Funny enough, because
there
I don't know
some stuff on your desk.
Oh man, I don't know. Like, I think
so I think
with me is I don't have time to like. I don't know. I don't have time to like indulge. So I mean, I don't wear a smartwatch. I wear a mechanical watch. I like my my tiny little paper notebook with my like Japanese pen that I buy because it writes really nice. Like I'm not a Luddite, but I'm a boring gadget guy. So I'll turn it over to you guys because you've got better stuff.
I mean, I'm like, Jeff is a world-class marketer, and I think they call me a marketer's dream because I'm one of those guys who sees an Instagram. Like, if you're a marketer and you're thinking about building your ad funnel, it's like, well, how many impressions do we need to get how many clicks, to get how many people on the site, to get people to add to cart and check out? And it's all about little percentages. And I'm the guy who's like, 1 impression, 1 click, add to cart, checkout, 100% completion rate, if it's a gadget or a product that really gets me. And I think, not all gadgets to me are high tech. Like sometimes it's low tech things, could be in the fitness space where they're purpose built for a real usage. This is the most interesting thing sitting on my desk right now. This is the Tornado. It is for building my wrist strength up. And it's freaking awesome. Now, is this a gadget? I don't know, but it hooked me. It's got friction pads in the middle. And I'm like, I love this thing. This is, me building my Arnold Schwarzenegger body like I wanted to do when I was a 19-year-old kid in school. This I saw on Amazon randomly. I'm like, these guys already won the battle. Communicator's dead. I mean, look at this thing.
What is it?
I still don't know. I found it on Amazon. It's the Unecto something. It's like a toy, but it did boot up. And
does it run Android?
I don't know. It's a good question.
I'm
Let's
gonna
see
have
if
to buy
it's
one. See,
still
Jeff, I'm
charged.
the opposite of you. Like that.
It's like
I'm gonna buy. I'll buy anything once. So
I bought one of these obviously when it came out, and I still have not fired it up, which is my friend thing. I don't quite know what it does.
yeah.
There's this thing. I was really saving this to help you tell me what I do with this, because I
The
bought this when it
Beatberry.
first went on sale. It looks pretty cool.
You got one of those too, right? Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Ooh, I might need.
yeah.
Okay, I might need one of those.
Well, I need
might one
that.
of
Where do I
those.
buy the little case?
The case is
That's
online.
cool.
I'll send you the link. It's
Send me
it's
the link
actually
to the
just
case.
3D
That's
printed
pretty dope.
transparent plastic.
And this
Okay,
is my
I thought of one.
2026.
I thought of one.
Wait. No, I got to finish.
Okay.
This is my 2026 this weekend resolution starting. This is a smart body tape. Because what I've seen being on video the last couple of years is, Eric, hardware is hard and you stay so svelte. And I seem to sacrifice diet and gym in the bringing of products to the market. But I think this is my ticket. I can measure all my body parts. It remembers them. That's pretty clever.
Nice.
Okay,
like
I'll
the
give you my one gadget,
stack.
and I don't have it because my wife stole it from me because she knows how much I love it. Kevin actually bought this for me on a business trip we were on. My favorite gadget is the AirFly Bluetooth wireless transmitter. So when you're on a
Oh.
plane, you
Yeah.
can plug this little thing into the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack and then throw on your cans or your AirPods.
I've
So
always
you
been
get
meaning
like
to buy
decent
this.
audio.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
like
that's a good one.
$40, maybe that, and it's just brilliant. It also works the other way around, so you can plug it in your car and then get like wireless audio through your. I've got like a
Yeah.
mid 2000s car, and so it gives me wireless audio in there. So that's
That's a great
probably
idea.
my big go-to one.
There you go. You got one. Except you don't have one because your wife's
I
got it.
got one.
You got to get another
My
one.
wife's got it. Yeah, I gotta get another one. What about
Well, thanks,
you?
guys.
What's
it was
what's on your
amazing.
desk?
Amazing. Oh, you want to hear about my gadget? Okay. Well,
Yeah, I gotta
besides
hear about
my own
yours.
product, I have a headphone problem, so I will buy new headphones at the drop of a moment. The current one that I'm looking forward to is one that I saw at CES or during the CES coverage. It's an open ear headphone that has noise cancellation.
I
I
heard
was
about
like,
this.
what the fuck?
Oh,
How is this
right.
physically possible? And so I paid $200. I'm going to find out if it, the review was like, this works. I can't believe, like, I don't know how it works. I can't even remember which company makes it, but I know that I ordered it. So yeah, I'm looking
Cool.
forward to it. But again, I have a
Thanks for
headphone
having us,
problem. I
Eric.
just have so many. Yes, guys. Thanks so much. You're officially the first guest that have dialed into the podcast. So thank you. Everyone go and pre-order the Communicator and the what was the keyboard called? It's clicky.
Power keys, power keyboard.
keys,
Yeah.
$79. Power bank and keyboard, works with Android and iPhone. Thanks so much,
Your
guys.
TV. Yeah, all the
Yes.
things. Thanks, Eric.
Okay, see ya.